Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. Today's show is a continuation on the topic of demographics. Yesterday, we talked about the reduction in mobility that's taken place over the past decade. The least mobile group of all are those above 65 years of age. They move less frequently than any other group, but eventually they move, usually because they have to, either due to health or because they die. One way or another, they will eventually move. A number of communities have been built around the country specializing in retirees as the target client. When Sun City, a suburb of Phoenix, was opened in January 1960, it was billed as the original retirement community. It was the first of its kind in America. On the weekend Sun City opened, cars were backed up for miles as some 100,000 visitors waited to look at the village built specifically for adults over the age of 50. They found a new 9-hole golf course, a community center with an auditorium, swimming pool, shuffleboard courts, and lawn bowling greens. There was an integrated shopping center, a grocery store, a motel, and a place where you could have a cup of coffee or something stronger if you wanted at the bar. The finest resort couldn't supply more, boasted the fictional resident of Sun City in a promotional video from the period. The concept was a huge hit. The developer sold about as many homes in the first year as he expected to sell in 3. 6 decades later, Sun City is home to 38,000 people. But the same demographics that built Sun City now pose an existential risk to the suburb as baby boomers age. More than a third of Sun City's homes are expected to turn over by 2027 as seniors die, move in with their children, or migrate to assisted living. Nearly 2/3 of the homes will turn over by 2037. The big question looming in this neighborhood, and dozens like it around the country, is what happens to everything from home prices to the local economy when so many homes post for sale signs at the same time. The very same tidal wave of people expected to enter senior housing, whether it's independent living, assisted living, or skilled nursing, means that same wave of folks are exiting their homes. This second but related tidal wave of homes will be hitting the market on the same scale of the housing bubble in the mid-2000s. This time, it won't be driven by overbuilding, easy credit, or rational exuberance, but by the inevitable fact of life, the passing of the baby boomer generation. It's estimated that 1 in 8 owner-occupied homes in the U.S., or roughly 9 million homes, are set to hit the market over the next decade as baby boomers start to die in larger numbers. This is up from roughly 7 million homes in the prior decade. By 2037, a quarter of U.S. households will have sold, roughly 21 million homes being vacated by seniors. That's more than twice the number of new properties built during the 10-year period that spanned the last housing bubble. Most of these excess homes will be concentrated in traditional retirement communities in Arizona and Florida, or parts of the Rust Belt that have been losing population for decades. A more modest infusion of new housing is expected in some of the coastal neighborhoods like New York and San Francisco, where younger folks still definitely want to live. On the face of it, it doesn't sound all that bad. Dying homeowners always needed to be replaced by younger ones, and the U.S. for a number of years suffered from a shortage of housing, something that's prevented a lot of younger buyers from coming behind the baby boomers and attaining home ownership. The Gen Xers, as a generation, are smaller in numbers than the boomer generation and financially not quite as strong. They have different preferences, posing a new kind of test for the housing market. They don't necessarily want to live in the same types of homes that their parents did. One problem is that the bulk of the new supply won't necessarily be in places where the new buyers want to live. Gen Xers and the younger millennials have so far shown that they'd rather be in the cities or in the suburbs of major metro areas that offer strong internet service, plenty of shops and restaurants within walking distance. We're talking about communities like Plano or Frisco and Dallas. They have little interest in migrating to the planned, age-restricted communities that are lined with golf courses, community centers, and man-made lakes, like the kind you find all over Florida. Now, in case you think I'm being overly alarmist, you just need to look to Japan to see the impact of demographics on the housing market. With their aging population, Japan now has 11 million vacant apartments across the nation. This was in a place where real estate was once in such demand that people were signing multi-generational loans in order to afford the property. As you make investments, you definitely want to look at demographics in your local market and fast forward a few years to make sure you're still going to be a good spot when the elderly exit the market. Do you think about that? Have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.